in my pajamas because tonight's Live About 5 is about how exhausting today has been and how probably between now and November, we're going to have to figure out ways to manage stress and exhaustion. So, we've talked about ways to navigate political discussions. We've talked about ways to stay on target with your goals, even when the world is on fire and it's distracting. But now let's address specifically how we care for ourselves when we're just burned out and exhausted. And, I want to lay around like my Yorkie Charley all day because he's got the answer. Let me tell you, he is as snug as a bug in a rug all the time. But you can't ignore how you're feeling and just keep pushing through, especially in midlife. I've learned that the body just doesn't respond the way it used to, right? I'm not drinking until 2 a.m. and getting up and going to work at 6 a.m. anymore. And I can't just pretend that I'm not really stressed and feeling tired. So here are some things that you can try that might help address your exhaustion. And the first thing is to take a digital break. Isn't that ironic that I'm telling you that on this device? What do I mean by a digital break? It means I think you should schedule digital breaks throughout the day. Put this phone down. And if you have ADHD, actually, this is your reminder that you were actually trying to do something when you came across this video. So it's okay if you want to leave now and go finish what you were doing, because that's what I do all the time. But take a break, right? Schedule breaks, maybe at 10, 12, and 2, and go out for a quick 5-minute walk. Make a good meal for yourself, but take a digital break. Turn off the TV, close the laptop, put your phone down, because it's really going to help you detach from all the noise that's being created in our world on this online system, right? The second thing is going to be to move your body. I cannot tell you what exercise has done for me, and I avoided it for as long as humanly possible. I can't tell you why, but I am from the South. I don't know if we have some hang up about it being hot, but in general, I was never really good at exercising. And I've come up with a nice basic walk routine, a good basic arm routine, and a good basic core routine. And they keep my stress levels down. If I'm feeling particularly stressed, I'm going to take 2 walks in the day. But figure out what you love. Maybe you don't love exercise for exercise sake. That was me for a long time. But you love pickleball, or you love tennis, or you love golf. Schedule that not as a treat, but as self-care. Then I'm going to recommend that you rest. Sometimes instead of quitting, the best thing to do is just take a break. When your body is telling you it's really tired, that's its way of saying it needs real rest. And if you're not sleeping well, I can assure you that you're not doing most of anything well. Sleep is one of my specialty areas. I can help you with sleep. It is an area I have mastered. I'm sleeping better than I ever have in my entire life at 57, and I help other people do the same thing. So if sleep is your issue, let me know. But if all you need to do to sleep better is to go, I know the routine I should follow, I'm just not doing it. I'm staying up doom scrolling. I'm having coffee too late. I'm watching screens until the last minute. I'm sleeping with my phone. But right, if you go through that list in your head and you're like, I know what to do, I'm not just doing it. Get back to that and see it as a gift that you're giving yourself. Because I'm telling you, if I am rested, fed, and warm, I can do anything. And I bet you're the same way. But we need to get ourselves rested before we can handle all this junk that we're dealing with. Then I would say to mind your health, especially if your tiredness is persisting. If you think that maybe it's more than just being overwhelmed or feeling frustrated with today's day and age and news, then see a doctor. You might need to get a blood test. You might to see what's happening in your body. I have a thyroid disease, as most people my age do. Thank you. Goodness knows what we did to make that happen. But I know that I have to be thoughtful. My thyroid right now is 0.008, which is, for those of you who don't know, super bad. It's the only thing I see a doctor for, and it's the only thing that's totally screwed up. I'm not blaming the doctor. It's just really frustrating to try to get it straight. Fortunately, health and wellness is one of my focuses, so I'm making progress on it. But if you feel like you have some long-term health issues that might be bugging you, get a baseline done. There are amazing people called functional diagnostic nutritionists. And they, if you don't want to see your regular doctor, can do some tests. Because what I would recommend is that you test, you don't guess. right? It's really important to know exactly what we're dealing with. And there might be an underlying health issue that's causing you that frustration. Next, I would recommend self-care. And this isn't just a little blip I'm throwing out. I'm talking about not zoning out and scrolling on your phone. I'm not talking about going and get a mani-pedi. That's great if you do that. But I'm talking about coming up with a strategy for yourself, whether it's meditation in the morning, walking in the afternoon, and a healthy meal that is literally taking care of yourself. One of the things that I've added into my routine more consistently lately is dry brushing. I have incredibly delicate, dry, pale skin, and dry brushing is really helping me. But I have to take the time to do it. Is it like 100 hours a day? No, it's like 10 minutes. Do I like to avoid it anyway? Yes. So part of what is good for me when I decide, all right, I need to double down on self-care is just the act of taking care of myself buoys my mental health. It gives me energy. It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel loved. And we need to feel that way by ourselves, right? We don't need anybody else to tell us that. But maybe what really floats your boat is a massage. Get a massage. And I'm not saying the mani-pedi isn't good enough. I'm saying do something more than just pampering. Do something that's fundamental. You know, when we have little babies and they can't tell us what they need, and you may not be able to tell me what you need. You may not even be able to tell yourself what you need. Start at the beginning, right? Is there a problem in the belly? Is there a problem with the sleep? Is there a problem with needing to burp? Is there a problem with needing to eat? Go back to the basics with your self-care and really review. You know what? Every time I get really stressed, it's because I'm binging on sugar. And sugar makes me anxious. Alcohol makes me anxious, right? Think of the things that work for you and explore until you figure out what they are, because you deserve that. Next is going to be to listen to your body. And that's the last thing I'm going to recommend that you do. I think our bodies try to tell us quietly, then more loudly, and then with even more emphasis, when we've got to stop and pay attention before we do some long-term damage. And if you're not slowing down, it's really going to catch up. And it's important that you listen so that you can then treat yourself, right? You can say, God, I feel hungry all the time. What is that? Wait, what am I eating? I had a Pop-Tart for breakfast and then a Dr. Pepper. And then I went and I had a candy bar for lunch. Yeah, I bet I'm hungry, right? Eat whole foods, right? Don't worry about organic. Don't worry about keto. Just eat a real meal, right? Eat a hamburger with a salad on the side. Eat a lovely piece of salmon with some rice and some bread. Whatever it is, get back to some good food, good sleep, good hydration, whatever that works for you. If you're not sure what works for you, I want to invite you to join us on the 14-day reset coming in August. We do one every single month. The one for July is already rocking soon. But in every single month, you have a chance for 14 days to change the way you feel. And for me, this has been the system that I go to over and over and over again. And I'm talking about kicking inflammation to the curb. I'm talking about increasing your energy, sleeping better, having rings fit better, feeling like you are less stressed. And people on average in this large group that we're a part of, there's over 10,000 people now who have done it, are losing about 6.5 pounds and about 5.2 inches. And that is self-reported data, but we're seeing improvements in A1C. If you haven't heard my story about my husband, who is a type 2 diabetic, this transformed his numbers to the point where his doctor was super impressed. If you're looking for a system and you don't have one, I would love to have you do the reset with me, because I'll tell you why the reset's different. It's not something that you have to do forever. Every single day, do this. It's a 14-day system that you can push and play when you need it. Are you going to do this during Christmas break, holiday break, Kwanzaa break, Hanukkah break? No, don't do it when you're celebrating. Don't do it Thanksgiving weekend, right? But maybe you want to do it after you've been on vacation because you really went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and had an amazing time eating all your favorite foods. And now you want to feel better, right? Now you want to do a little bit of a detox. So if you want to check out more information about the reset, there's a sneak peek group that I can put you in that you can just look around. Because if you're like me, you don't want to necessarily have some long conversation. You want to learn a little bit more, but with no pressure and no salesy weirdness. This is something that I share because I adore it. It works for me and it means a lot. It has worked for thousands of people, which means that it could work for you. And I would love to be the person that gives you the chance to take care of yourself, because part of being exhausted is when we're unhealthy, right? It's when our cortisol levels are always pumping because, somebody says, "Did you see the new piece of news today?" And automatically we just think, "Oh my God, what?" And so I want to invite you to try these things, to do some self-care, because you deserve to feel better. And things are not slowing down. Things are speeding up. November is pretty far away, and we've got to find ways to stay healthy and happy and pursuing our goals all along the way, both today, tomorrow, and after the election. So I love you. I'm thinking about you. I know you can do this. And if you need some support, let's chat. I've got your back. No matter who wins and no matter what happens, your life, your goals, and your health are the most important thing. And so let's work together to make sure you're where you need to be, because